Thank you very much. Let me say that I'm privileged, first, as a former governor, and also chairman Northern Governors Forum. Again, I was also privileged to be the Director General of the campaign for the President and the Vice President. So many of those things I'll say are within my knowledge. First, let me say that like other laws in Nigeria, many of our laws are outdated. You cannot even go into the system now. Talking about the tax law, people look at it as if this is the very first time they are introduced. It is not. This thing came up about 3 years ago. I will say 3 years ago, when at the Governors Forum, we realized that there were a lot of difficulties. You understand, there was subsidy. There was conversation around subsidy, and then conversation around what are we going to do. We envisaged and we saw economic dangers ahead of us. And so I would like what the president was always saying when we were doing campaign. We had summit with the business community. And he said, look, what I'm seeing is that as if we are going to be drawing water in an empty well. So what do we do? I want you to help me think out of the box. So I'm sure the tax laws that are coming today are products of those thinking out of the box. So at that time, if anybody was thinking that everything was going to be all right because we are all going to be concentrating on the law, on petroleum, on oil, it was not that. So for me, there was nothing wrong with the tax laws. Like you said, communications. At the time we were doing that sensitization, I will say that only politicians, politicians were really very busy with campaigns. So, well, there were a lot of education. I sat down and I listened when we had a summit in Lagos, when we had one here with the business community, and another one was in Kaduna or so, and those issues came. Part of the conflict, let me tell you, was some governors went to court on VAT. That is the basic thing. People are not ready to say the truth. Some governors, because the conflict that we're seeing today is about VAT. It's not about the other aspect of the tax laws. They are very fantastic. And then to avoid throwing away the baby with the bathwater, there were a lot of conflicts here and there. Very few people understand, but many people do not understand. If you go to the local man, when people say, yes, as governors hijack, I don't want to use the word governors hijack. Governors are supposed to be the driving force. Yes. Because they are the advisors to Mr. President at the Economic Council. So they listened to what people were saying. And it was their duty to explain that, look, let us go back again and discuss with the people. So that was where we had that dispute. I'm a member of National Assembly. Even when it went there, we said, look, let's carry a little. Let's explain to the people, let them understand. When they understand, this bill will have its way. Some people were of the view that, no, we can't listen, we can't delay this. Let's rush and pass the bill. And let's rush and pass the bill. They were forgotten that these matters are still at the Supreme Court. Two governors. Yes. So when you see they say it's between North and South, I disagree. It wasn't an issue of North and South. It was an issue of two states against the other, or the members of the Federation. Because those matters, if you go to the court, you will see them. They are Rivers, Lagos, yes, against the rest of Nigeria on issue of VAT. On issue of VAT.
But why are governors insistent on the issue of VAT? Why is it so important?
Well, you can see it from the explanation. At that time, let me tell you, at that time it was an issue of the right of the states to collect VAT. To collect VAT. Well, if at that time, without enough sensitization, you allow that, it means some states will be at advantage, heavy advantage over other states. Lagos will be at advantage, Rivers will be at advantage, but the remaining part of the state will also be very, very poor. They can't collect VAT and they can't even use what they proceed. But today, because we needed all of us to meet together at the level of the Governors Forum, let me now speak on behalf of Northern Governors. When we saw that danger, we went back to the Governors Forum, the Northern Governors Forum. I said, look, we are seeing danger. If at the end of the day they succeed in the Supreme Court, it means those of us in the north will be suffering. A lot, you can't go back. What are you going to collect? There is no VAT on agriculture and all of the allied products. So we are going to, what are we going to rely on? That was why we set up various committees at the Northern Governors Forum. The Economic Committee, the Security Committee, the Youth Committee, and everything. And that was what propelled us to get to, even to the level of struggling to go back and commission the oil in Bauchi. You remember the Colmani? We said, let's go back to Colmani. Let's go back to the basic. Let's go back to what was in the north, textile and everything. So it gives opportunity to states who are relying on federation account to also think out of the box. I think, to me, it's a good thing.
All right.
Because now it has enlightened people. All the governors are saying they are struggling. I will take it as a governor. They are struggling because they are thinking of what to do. Why they are saying allow us to explain to the people is let us explain so that we are not taken taken by surprise. And I will also say that yes, they are talking to a president who is a Democrat. When people say no, he is not going to listen, I say no. I work with him. I know the president is listening. Even when he says this, he's listening because he's a man that he will say this in the afternoon. In the night, he's doing dialogue. He's calling people and doing dialogue. I know him so many times that he invited the governors, so many people, and went into dialogue. So you can see the delay. The delay has also come out with something today. Now the governors have agreed and said, this is our position, Mr. President. Mr. President said, okay, I listen. I agree with you. At the end of the day, when you put them together and you get back to National Assembly, of course, the National Assembly, with due respect to the National Assembly, I'm not a spokesman for National Assembly. I'm also a member of the National Assembly. I know that at the end of the day, it will go. This bill will have a smooth sail because if you don't engage the governors and you go back as a National Assembly to your various states, and the governor disagrees with you, it's very easy for them to listen to the governor, and then you find people voting different ways. So I must say that I've identified the conflict, the areas of conflict, because I also want, as a person, to ask them, why is Lagos and Rivers, why are you still at the Supreme Court? This matter is also already been captured by the tax laws. And if this thing is agreed, then they should go back and withdraw all those cases. Withdraw all cases from the court so that no suspicion is created between North or between the South. And I said it is not between North and South. It is between some few states and the federation and the federation. So I must commend the approach too of Mr. President, and I also commend the governors for even sitting down, agreeing within themselves, so that people are not seen as if they are hijacking. They are not hijacking.
Thank you very much, Senator Lalong.